Здравствуйте, вы все говорите по-английски? Да, okay. So, before I start, we're gonna play a little game with this plush toy. Whoever I throw it to has to introduce themselves and say, maybe give a time where they were once bullied or they seen someone else being bullied.
No, you start first.
Oh, I do. Okay, sorry. All right, thank you. Okay. I'm Zoya. I'm 13 years old. I'm an advocate against bullying and for education. When I was younger, I was really violently bullied in school, which is why my parents took me out when I was 9. I've been homeschooled for the past 4 years. So, yeah. Um, I really remember what happened. I was in first grade, and they started bullying me at school. Thank you for sharing that. Pass back to you. Pass someone else at the table.
My name is Nadia and fourth grade, and I'm 10 years old. And in fourth grade, I've been bullied by a girl. She was like ripping on my clothes, and it's like hurt my feelings, and she stole some things from me. So yeah.
Hi, my name is Olivia. I'm in fourth grade. I'm also 10 years old. I once got, so I have this, I have a lot of stress relief toys, like squishies, and I brought one to school once, and this girl named Emma in my class, she basically steals everything, and she took my squishy from my backpack and brought it to the bathroom so she can find a spot to hide it. And then she came back, and I saw because my squishy was like a cat, and I saw the little head sticking out of her pocket, and I'm like, hey, that's mine. And she's like, no, it's not. I bought my own. So yeah, and then it was yeah, just really sad.
Thank you for sharing that, Olivia.
My name is John. I'm 14. Uh, I haven't been bullied and I haven't seen any bullying. So, do I just pass it to you?
There are other people.
My name is Nadia. I'm 41. I was bullied actually a lot as a child in school and outside of the school. And I think it's very important that you're talking about it. I also have a 9-year-old son, and he goes to the third grade. He hasn't been really bullied, but I see that it's happening a lot in middle schools and elementary schools. So it's a really great topic. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Irina and I'm John's mom. I've never been bullied. Nothing like me, I guess, to just to grow up and study in a very nice environment. I have a lot of friends. We're still friends, even like, from my elementary school people. But I did a fair amount of research in the area of violence, and well, in particularly violence against women, but I was also kind of researching violence in general. So I'm very interested in this topic, and I hope John will never encounter bullying in his school. But I want him to be prepared if he does. So I would appreciate if you shared your experience and what you've learned.
Of course. Thank you. Right. So I'm Zoya Kalinsky. I know exactly what it's like to feel bullied. I was bullied very violently in school. So I was actually bullied for having Tourette syndrome. It made me stand out and not in the way I wanted. Kids would mimic my tics, they'd laugh at me, they'd stab me with pencils, they'd drag me from classrooms and make me feel in general like I didn't belong. So, for a long time, I believed the things they said. And I feel like anyone who has been bullied, they kind of start believing the things they say and start thinking that they deserve it, which is absolutely wrong. So, I avoided making new friends, crushed my confidence, and I tried to blend into the background, hoping that they'd just forget about me. But the real turning point is when I decided to, speak out and step up, and not just for myself, but for young kids worldwide, who are facing the same thing as me. I realized that being different wasn't something to hide. It was something to celebrate. I stopped letting the bullies define me and insult me constantly. Instead of reacting with anger or sadness, I learned to flip their words, taking away their power, which is something we'll learn how to do today. And most importantly, I promised myself that I wouldn't let anyone else feel the way I did. So that's really why I'm here today. I want to stand up against bullying and help others find strength. 5 years ago, my parents decided to take me out of school. That decision did not stop me. It gave me the chance to find a bigger platform to share my story and empower others. I've had the honor of speaking at the United Nations to address bullying and violence against women. That one moment made me realize that my voice could be a tool for change, not just for me, but for countless others. So, today we're going to talk about it, what bullying is, what to do when it happens or to someone else. And by the time we're done, you'll know exactly how to take its power away. So, before we start talking about how the solutions to bullying, we have to understand if it even is bullying. So, let's start with the basics. How do you even know when someone is bullying you? Not every mean comment is bullying, and not every argument means someone is out to get you. Bullying is repeated behavior that's meant to hurt, embarrass, or control someone. There are different types of bullying, such as physical, pushing, tripping, hitting, verbal, name calling, spreading rumors, and social, leaving someone out on purpose, rolling eyes at everything they say, and more. A lot of the time, bullying is dismissed as a joke, but if the person on the other end isn't laughing, then it's not a joke, it's a problem. So we're going to play a little game. I'm going to say a few situations, and if you think it's bullying, yell bullying. If it's not, just stay quiet. Someone trips you in the hallway on purpose.
Bullying.
Someone calls you a mean name once but apologizes. Okay, good. A group of people keeps leaving you out on purpose.
Bullying.
Your friend teases you about your new haircut, but you both laugh about it. Okay. Someone spreads a rumor that isn't true. Someone steals your squishy. Bullying. Someone keeps taking your things without asking and laughs when you ask them to give them back. Bullying. So we understand how to identify bullying, but how do we deal with it? One of the hardest things to do, but one of the most effective, is not giving bullies the reaction they want. Bullies thrive on power. They want you to get upset, to cry, to lash out. But if you don't give them that, it takes the fun out of it for them. If you blow up, they win. If you stay calm, they get bored. But let's be real, ignoring them sometimes isn't enough. That's why it's important to have a plan for what to do next. If someone keeps bullying you, you have to talk to someone you trust. A teacher, a parent, a friend, someone who can help. Telling someone isn't being weak, it's making sure that the bullying doesn't continue. I know, you're probably thinking if I tell a teacher, won't it make it worse? But keeping it to yourself just lets it continue. Telling someone isn't snitching. Snitching is when you tell on someone for something small to get them in trouble. Telling is when you need help because someone is hurting you. And then there's confidence. When I spoke at the United Nations, I talked about how bullying doesn't just hurt in the moment. It can damage your confidence for years. When you lose confidence, you stop standing up for yourself, which makes it easier for others to keep treating you badly. It can even lead to a cycle of violence where people who were once bullied end up lashing out at others. In fact, 97% of those who bully actually say that they were bullied at least once in their lifetime. And here's something even more important. If you see someone else being bullied, don't just stand by. Sometimes the worst part of bullying isn't the actual insults. It's the feeling like no one cares. But you can be the person who does care. Even something small can make a difference. But if the school isn't acting like it did in my case, escalate it to the school district, as they can do something about it. Some areas even have education boards or regulators that handle bullying complaints. But if bullying includes threats, physical harm, or harassment, it may be a legal issue and should be reported to local authorities. When I was bullied in school, no one really cared. The principal and teachers were actually part of the problem, as the teacher sometimes told me to even leave class until I'd be quiet. So a lot of schools will address it, but unfortunately, mine didn't. But there are also many organizations, and this information is for the parents in the room because there are many organizations and hotlines that can be reached when faced with bullying. One research such as a teen line, it's a hotline where trained teen volunteers offer support. I'll share the information later. There's also Los Angeles Anti-Bullying Society, Pacers National Bullying Prevention Center, and Stand for the Silent, and many more organizations that are there to help. I wish I had these resources when I was being bullied because the only way that the bullying could stop is for me to be taken out of school. But the most important thing that a child can do is outside of telling a parent or a teacher is to stop reacting to what the bullies say. Think of it this way. If someone walked up to you and said, "You're a tree," would you suddenly believe that? No, of course not. You think, wow, this person is bad at insults. So why do we believe what other bullies say? Just because someone says something doesn't make it true. Their words do not define you. You do. But why do bullies even bully? First, let's get something straight. Bullying is not your fault. It's not about who you are or what you do. It's about the person doing the bullying and whatever they're dealing with. But that doesn't make it easier when you're the one getting hurt. Bullies bully for different reasons, but at the core of it, it's about power. Some do it because they feel insecure and tearing others down makes them feel stronger. Others might be dealing with problems at home or feeling powerless in other parts of their lives. So they take control when they can by hurting others. Some people just want attention and don't care if it comes at someone else's expense. And sometimes people don't even realize they're bullying because they've been surrounded by that behavior so long it seems normal. None of that makes it okay, obviously. It just means that bullying is never really about the victim. It's about the bully's own issues. And that's why taking away their power is so important. But here's the reality. Bullying is never just about the moment. It affects people long after the words are said or the bruises fade. It's about people doubting themselves, isolating themselves, and sometimes even believing what they deserve it. But they don't. You don't. No one does. The only way to stop bullying isn't just by telling people to be nicer. It's by standing up, speaking out, and making it clear that bullying isn't a normal part of life. So whether you're the one being bullied, the one watching it happen, or even the one who's hurt someone before, this is your chance to change things. Because bullying only has power if we give it power. And today, we take that power back. Thank you. Okay, so now we're gonna play another game. So as I said before, one of the biggest, most important things when facing bullying is to number one, not react to what someone's saying, but if the bully keeps coming on to you, to flip their words, to turn whatever they're saying into something positive. Yeah?
Question.
Mm-hmm.
What if like somebody like for example stabs you, and is that like illegal in California here?
Child abuse.
Yeah, child abuse.
Yeah. If it contains, some sort of harassment or violence, it's absolutely it,
Can you
it
get like in jail? You like
absolutely if it involves something that actually physically hurt you, absolutely. Absolutely. I'll share some resources with with your parents about where to go, and if the principal or the teachers aren't doing anything about it, it should be taken higher up. Of course. And by the way, any other questions? Okay. So now the game. Okay, so we're gonna divide into two teams. One team's going to be the bully, and the other one is going to be the victim. And it's a really fun game, believe me. No, 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 it really isn't because basically one team is going to sell you to the other team a mean comment that you might hear from a bully, and the other team has to flip it into something positive. Because as I said before, the bully wants a reaction like, "Stop! You're so mean. Why are you doing this to me?" But if you change it into something, they won't understand and they'll get bored.
So like if you said to somebody, wait, so um not like a comeback, it's flipping it into something else.
Yeah, so like if someone says you're so bad at sports, you'll confuse the bully by saying something like, "I know, it's awesome, thanks." right? So you basically flip their words and confuse them, or just replying by a simple yeah and can take the bully's power away. So like if I tell you your shirt is ugly, I'm like, yeah, I picked it up specifically for you to be happy about it or something. You know what I mean? You make it about them. You flip their words. You guys ready? Okay, so let's split into two teams. Who wants to be the bully? Okay. 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 We need well all of them. Okay, you can be the bully. You can be the bully. Who else wants to be the bully?
Question.
I know not something you hear on a daily basis. Okay. Three bullies against three victims. Okay. 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 So I'm gonna give each of you an insult. Oh no. Okay. I'm attached, sorry. All right. This one's the first one. Okay, so you have to say, and one of them have to come up with a comeback.
Wait, can I see it?
Sure. Okay. Okay. Ready?
Nobody likes you.
Okay, now you are the victims and you have to figure out something to say back. Flip their words.
Yes, that's fine, but I like myself.
Exactly, yeah. That's a great response. Okay, your turn.
That's sad, actually. Your laugh is so weird. Please, I don't care.
Yeah. Okay.
Bro, just let I don't.
Okay.
Here,
Next one. Okay.
Is it?
You're so slow, yeah.
You're so slow.
You're so slow. Telling your own mom.
It's already, I'm so. Well, thank you, John. No one's so than you are.
Yeah.
Oh,
Perfect.
wow.
All right. Round two.
You're so ugly.
For everybody,
Anyone who wants to respond to it can.
You're so ugly. I don't care about them.
Yeah.
Zoya, how would you respond?
How would I respond? I know. I know. Yeah, it's awesome. I put this face on, for a reason.
Or you can also say like, I don't control how I look, or maybe it's just you who has bad taste.
Oh yeah, you have bad taste.
Maybe you have bad taste in people.
Oh yeah.
Question.
Yeah.
You know, I have like a, I have like a, I have like I have like a thing in my head that's going on right now. I'm scared to like go to school right now because of all the bullies right now, and it like makes me not to go to school anymore, and like and if somebody bullies me anymore, I don't want to go to school anymore.
It's actually very often when kids are bullied, they want to stop going to school. I used to hate going back to school when I was
All
bullied.
parents usually understand me. I mean, if it's
Yeah, that means yeah.
my parents.
Yeah, but it's really important to not keep it to yourself, to talk to people about it, to talk to your parents, to talk to your friends, to talk to your
My
teachers.
grandma, she told me that I'm an idiot in like school because everybody sees that.
That's sad. Well, there's always people who are there to help.
Yeah.
And if you ever need to talk to someone, I'm always here. You can always talk to me.
Did you tell your parents right away?
yes.
No, actually, in fact, I kept it to myself a long time. I was actually scared of upsetting my parents, which is why I didn't tell them for a really long time.
My parents wanted to tell the principal, and it's like, then they said no because then she'll like tell it was all my fault.
Oh, so like it's kind of like I get what you're saying because sometimes, let's say for example, you got in a fight and then you tell your mom about it, and your mom is just like, okay, let me tell the principal. Then your mom tells the principal, and then the principal talks to the bullies, and then the bullies kind of bully you more because they're like, hey, you told your mom about us. Why did you do that? Like, why did you do that? You're just gonna make us hate you more. So it's just like I don't know. That's why sometimes I also keep it to myself, or I tell like a best friend or my sister.
No, my best friends don't care about me, so they will not.
Then why are they best friends?
I don't know. I'm just friends with them I just go to the library.
Library. Library.
Yeah.
You know, when I was bullied, the mother of the bully, I was going to tell the parents, my parents, I was going to tell the teachers, and you know, the mother of the bully, she pinned me and she told me that if I tell anyone, things will end poorly for me. So she completely threatened me, and which is why at school, yeah, she um
Was it a private?
it was a private school, yeah, it was
Crazy.
yeah.
I thought that private schools pick out bad students.
Not in my school, no. In fact, you know, the principal and the teacher, they were making excuses that, you know, they're just playing, and every time my parents would address it to them, they would never take it seriously. I feel like that's why it's really important to when principals or teachers won't take it seriously to escalate it, because that's the only way that things can change, right? Unfortunately, not always using the flip it method or the ignore method will work, because
Are we gonna still play the
yeah, we will. Don't worry. I have a lot more insults. I have a lot more. Don't worry. But a lot of times when kids kids don't usually tell their parents like when I did. My parents didn't find out until later when the mother of the bully pinned. Huh? Who? My parents? Yeah, yeah. I was.
Questions.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to act as normal as I could around them. You know, sometimes I'd come back home with ripped pants, you know, but my parents kind of started understanding that something was happening. They decided to talk to teachers, and they said, "Oh, they're just playing. You know, they're playing all the time. They're friends."
Teachers love that.
Yeah, yeah. Teachers don't want to deal with it, especially because there was
Kids like
only
kids.
the thing is, my private school, the private school I went to, there were only two kids in my class, me and two other girls, and those two girls were bullies. So I mean, what I thought is they didn't want to lose clients, which is why they didn't want to kick anyone out.
I feel so bad for you.
Oh,
I have to
don't feel bad for me, because you know, bullying it, you know, it shaped me into who I am. You know, eventually I understood that all of these bullies, all those girls who were bullying me, they came from broken homes. You know, the mother of the bully, she was an alcoholic, a single mom, and the other one, she taught her kids to bully. She said either you bully or be bullied. So, you know, I I'm not sorry that I was bullied, to be honest, because it shaped me into who I am. And I'm not saying that bullying is good. It's absolutely not good. It's terrible. But it's important to understand that as much as bullying is a bad thing, it's a cycle of life, right? It prepares us for who we are in the future. And if it's violent, it's absolutely terrifying. It's awful. But eventually, people will start understanding how awesome we all are and stop bullying us.
I've been violently. One boy said that he beat me up at school. I had a lot of bullies in fourth grade.
Yeah,
Nice.
boys are probably the most likely people to bully somebody because they think they're the strongest people in the world. No offense, but I mean, like sometimes if they're being bullies, it's just not that fun because they just act like, for example, let's say they're doing some roast battle with somebody and they act like they're the best person because they think that they know everything, and then they just end up just ruining somebody and turning them into a different person, which is not good.
I think it's called young boys that bully.
Yeah, like let's say for example, little kids you can't really control them because they're just little. You can't really like unless because my sister, I have a 3-year-old sister, and she can talk fluently. Like she goes to a very good preschool and they teach her very well. But so she bit me before on my side, and I have a bruise there now. But so I was on a swing with her, and I got off, and then she like got mad at me because I got off before her, and she wanted to get off like at the same time for some odd reason. And then I got off because I wanted to go get some water, and she's like, "Hey, why'd you get off? I want to get off with you." So I got off, and she got off of the swing, and she bit my thigh,
Right.
and then it hurt so bad, and I was like bleeding a lot. But like, cause I can't control that, I couldn't tell her to stop, cause she's just a little baby, so
Oh my God, little vampire.
a little vampire. Exactly. So yeah, yeah.
Your parents probably explained to her.
Oh.
Yeah, she knows now because she was like 2.
And one boy, he hit with his Chromebook on my head. And, oh,
Oy.
That's expensive for the Chromebook.
yeah. I hate when
I'm
people-
sorry, can I ask you another question? Like, what was the last straw for you to tell your parents?
Well, the last straw, we were supposed to go travel, right? And we were going to travel for about a month. And before then I said, I really don't want to go back to the school. I really don't want to come back. I just want to say bye and I want to leave. I mean, the last straw, it's probably the most memorable day in a bad way of my life. It was actually a day before I had surgery on my tonsils. I had them taken out because I was getting sick a lot. And that day was the last straw. When I came into class, into the PE room, I sat down and the girl yanked me off the chair. I fell. I was like 8 at the time. I started crying. I was really sad. And then I went next class, like a couple hours. These two girls started just tell me awful things to my face. And then the next class, a boy was playing a video game on his phone, and he told me that if I didn't stop looking at the video game, because everyone was looking, if I didn't stop looking, that, he'd make me get out of class. So, and I'm like, well, what is he gonna do? So he told the two girls, and they took me by my feet and legs, and they threw me out of the class. So that day was really the last straw for me. Um, I mean, that was right before they took me out, and I'm really glad they did.
Did you hit your head hard?
I didn't hit my head, but I did. They did like drop me on the floor. Sorta.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
Daddy
Okay.
might
That's a theory. Yeah, but that was the last straw for me, and
So, and the teachers, they didn't see that in the class?
No.
It was like-
And I actually went to the teacher. I went to the principal's office right after that happened. I remember very vividly. I went to the principal's office. I said, "This just happened. They just dragged me out of the class for just looking at the video game screen." And the principal said, "Oh, you shouldn't do that anymore." Yeah, it's just
But he shouldn't even be playing video games.
in school. Yeah, exactly. What is he doing with his phone?
What is in California school?
It's Los Angeles.
Ask you, and in case if a kid doesn't want or can't ask their parents for help, or if he asks but the parents don't react in proper way, the teachers don't react in proper way, where a kid alone can go.
So, most of the time I recommend if a kid, can't get to the principal or can't in that moment tell their parents is to always have a friend that can be there for the for the person.
Did you have friends at that school?
Unfortunately, I didn't because I was in third grade and the two girls in my class were the bullies.
You said 2 girls, and like, how many people in total were
And two girls.
like 3, including you?
Yeah,
It's just
in that class. Yeah, it was a private school, so
yeah, there's like usually 20 or 18.
Yeah.
And
but I actually have a list of resources on where
Yes,
you
that was my question. How a kid can contact these resources?
there's actually a phone number, a hotline where a
okay.
child can actually talk to, a representative of the company to talk about their experience
And
for help.
these authorities can protect this kid if he feels alone.
Yes.
Then doesn't-
Yes, and also, yeah.
How do can we so I remember earlier you told her that that she can talk to you whenever she wants. How do we contact you?
Well, I will definitely give your parents my number, my email, and whatever you need to contact me.
So you're gonna help us.
Yes, I am. 100%. My mission is to help as many young kids get through bullying. And I have a neighbor in my apartment building where I live. She's 7 years old, and yeah, she's 7. She's 7 or 8, around there. She's we would come go swimming together in our pool, and she would always tell me about her experience and what happened to her at school. She kept telling me that this girl dumped a water bottle on her head or spilled, put ketchup in her backpack. No, yeah, but it was funny, but it wasn't funny for her because, it's just she was telling me about all these things and, I helped her through it. I explained to her the situation that the child was going through. Child was an orphan. Child was an orphan with a an orphan is when a child doesn't have parents and when he's in a foster home.
It's kind of like an adoption center, but a little bit worse. Yeah, it's older version of an adoption center, and you don't really have parents.
Yeah. So yeah, the child was in an abusive home, and the only way the child could, have some kind of life was, to bully. So I explained it to her, and the girl started becoming very nice and helping the bully, and they actually ended up being best friends. So I helped her through it and explained to her.
Zoya, how did you deal with it?
How did I deal with bullying? In the worst way possible. I didn't tell anyone. I just kept it all into myself, and I just I mean that's just the reality. I didn't tell anyone about it, and just kept it to myself.
But you now have the confidence. Tell me about the change. I think it'd be very good for people to understand.
Yeah.
How you went from that scared little girl to speaking at the web.
Yeah, well, I obviously when my parents took me out of school, the bullying stopped. I mean, it didn't stop entirely. Even in public places where I would go, people would mock me sometimes. So, the way I dealt with it is I kind of changed my mentality. I started understanding that all these kids, they come from, bad homes or they just want power over someone, and I actually forgave them. I forgave my bullies. Forgave all the things that the bullies did to me, and it kind of shifted my mentality, shifted the way I think about them, and it kind of I started researching about bullying, and I started understanding that I want to step up for kids all over the world.
You're allowed to get president of bullying.
I wouldn't say president of bullying, but no, president of bullying is bad.
Yeah.
President for anti-bullying is good. Yeah, it's very big,
Yeah.
very big difference.
President.
Yeah.
Question. Are we going to be able to continue that? And
Yes, don't worry. We're gonna be able to insult some people right now. Don't worry.
Can I have a question?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. And when the bullying is ignoring a person, because it's not very easy, I understand, but it's much easier to address something if something really bad happened, like she put ketchup in her backpack. It's visible. It's easy to prove that she damaged her property. But if nobody just say hi, if nobody, because also I heard about this conflicts, especially in the situation of Ukraine and Russia, because the kids were separated, like Ukraine and Russian kids in one school. And when kids knew the opinion of parents, they excluded also this kid because of the opinion about the war. So in this case, how can you force? It's impossible to force to make friendship, but it's bullying. It's bullying based on political opinion, on race, on nationality, and however, how to deal with ignoring.
Well,
At my school, it happened. They ignored one girl. So I continued to speak to her, but all the class completely ignored for a lot of time.
so you're asking what should the girl who's being ignored, what should she do?
Yeah. Well,
So
yeah.
so in that case, I think number one, there are many options, but finding a friend that she can talk to. Number two, 100% explaining to a teacher. And I mean, not all schools are as ignorant as mine, and most will do something about it. Escalating it. When it gets to the point where it's physical and violent, escalating it. But if it is something like ignoring or something, being able to talk to someone who you trust and to explain the situation, because when a student comes to principal and starts explaining, it's very often that they don't take been taken seriously because they're just kids, they're just playing. But very often, when a parent comes to a principal or a teacher, something can happen, and it's often that things get resolved, and especially for parents to talk to the parents of the bullies.
But all the class, in my situation, for example, all the class, they didn't speak to this girl.
Okay.
And how it can be solved? She couldn't change.
I mean, look,
So it
this
was
is,
a school policy, yes?
well, no, it wasn't a school
Separated
policy.
kids?
It's
Is
just,
that what-
it's,
No, you said they separated Russians and Ukrainians.
No, it was another case. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, it was the groups of friends.
it's a group of friends that
It's a group
ultimately
of friends,
do it.
and
The,
I don't know exact details because
I mean, the
it's not our school.
let me help you, Zoya. This is obviously when you bring in geopolitics, because we see this in our everyday lives as adults as well. For the kids ultimately finding, and what we found, is for parents, when she finally did come to us, right, was basically the confidence came in finding the big sisters or the big brothers or somebody basically who could, that people would ultimately look up to, because older kids love to protect younger kids, just like they do. And older kids certainly want to make sure that the younger kids don't get bullied as much. From a geopolitical standpoint, that is just super, super hard because they're getting more information at home, right? But oh wow, that is a truly, truly, truly tough one because
Yeah, I heard about this. Unfortunately, I don't know. Unfortunately, maybe I don't know all the details, but I know that there is a situation in a school in our area that there are Ukraine boys and Russian boys, boys, I don't know, kids. And when Russian kids, they knew that another kid, he was pro-Ukraine, he was immediately excluded from the Russian group kids, and so he remained alone, for example. And in my school, when I was when I was young, much before the war, we had a girl that she was a new one, and they called the class. I don't even remember why, but they didn't speak to her for a lot of time. And when once I asked to her, like, do you have a pen? And it was at the level that her mom called my mom, and she said, thank you that your daughter asked for a pen to my daughter. So in these cases, how the school, how the principal can address it, you can't force kids to make friendship. You can do, you have to say hi. It's like no obligation to say hi to.
So I'll say two things. And Zoe, you should talk about how you basically actually have made friends outside of the school, like with the youth council. A lot of Zoe's friends are actually outside of the school. And ultimately, but what you just said there, I think is super important. The one child, the one kid, and you can be that one kid who can give the pen and start that chain of being able to, be there can make a huge difference in a bully dynamic. That is a very, unfortunately, it's like the same thing with Republicans and Democrats. Like it's the kids and the parents and all that. You're never going to stop it, right? The key is how you basically can be the kid who basically stands up for the kid who's being bullied, right? And then ultimately, what takes is one, non-bullied kid to basically come in and step in for the bully. And next thing you know, that dynamic is actually changed.
Yes, I'm sorry, I didn't want to for sure put Zoe in difficult situation. But for example, I have two sons, and if one day one of my son comes to home and say, nobody say hi to me, nobody wants to speak with me, for example, because I'm Russian, or for any other reason, because I'm blonde and all other kids are black, for example, for any reason, what should I do?
Go ahead.
In schools?
No.
No,
There's no, in some circumstances, it's very difficult to change school. What should I do like a parent? Because if I ask also principal, what principal can say to me? They can try to speak with the kids, but kids can justify it with like he is or she's strange or something like this. What a principal, what me like a mom, what is possible to do?
I think the most important thing is to find friends not inside of school but outside of school, so a child doesn't feel so excluded. Because if let's say you're in a public school, you don't have any friends in school, but you have a handful of friends outside of school, it won't be as upsetting to not be able to be greeted by kids in your classroom when you understand that you have friends who actually care about you outside the classroom. And you know, you
I'm sorry.
No, this is a great question.
no, it's a great question because you know you can pick your friends, but you can't pick your friends in school. So you're basically when you're put in a school, you're not given an array of what friends you can possibly have. You're given just a handful of friends that you either make or you don't make. So you can't really find someone. It's really rare when in school someone creates a very tight friendship with, you know, everything in common and amazing friendship. Everyone cares about each other. It's very hard because you know you don't exactly know anything about this person. But if you can make friends outside of the school with friends who you actually care about, who care about you and the mutual respect, not just inside the school, it could really help.
That's what you did.
That's what I did. Yeah, that's what I did. I found friends outside because I'm homeschooled. I sit in a computer in my pajamas all day in my bed. So um I live in a building. Sorry, what?
Where are you finding your friends?
Where am I finding my friends? You know, in places like this. I go out, you know, to the park, you know, in my building. There are some kids my age that I talk with. Um, I actually am founding my own youth council for kids all over the world to be part of it, to be able to have their voice heard. Yeah,
Do you have a company?
I do. I do actually.
So lucky. You're in a university.
I'm not in the university. I'm in eighth grade, so I'm still a baby.
This question.
Yeah.
What if a girl in your class, for example, like fourth grade, she looks like younger, she has Down syndrome, and like somebody bullies her?
Well, I actually have Tourette syndrome, which is a tic disorder. It's also a disability, and you know, people were bullying me for that, and in fact, people still bully me today.
Um, this me.
It's Tourette syndrome. It's a tic disorder, which makes you do like random movements at you know a specific amount of time. But yeah, I was bullied for that. That was primarily why I was bullied in school. Yeah,
Wait, so do you still have that?
I do actually. I still do. I still do. And
Where
I'm
would it be? It's fun now.
Did you over the time since you were what 9 or 10, did you learn how to control the disorder?
I did actually. It's a great question. In fact, when I was bullied, it was really bad because, you know, my tics come when I'm stressed, when there's constant emotions flowing through my head, right? But when they took me out of school and when the bullying stopped, you know, relatively, I learned how to control them when I wasn't constantly being insulted. So yeah, I actually.
Just one last question.
Mhm.
Um, were you bullied for something else also? For like your clothes or how you walk?
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I keep interrupting you. Were you kind of adding on to so do you so when you go down, let's say you're walking down the hall in school, so you change schools, right?
I be
Well, yeah,
homeschool.
homeschool.
Yeah.
Let's say, for example, you're talking to like one of your teachers, and you're on your computer, let's say, and you wait. So homeschool is it? Homeschool is when your parents teach you.
Yeah, parents and other teachers, but online.
I remember I also did that same exact thing. I also did homeschooling. So my parents are divorced. So my mom's boyfriend would teach me, and I this was like a year ago, and I actually moved to a public school that's like right here, and I it's kind of like when I was going, so I was on Zoom with one of my teachers, and she was telling me like the same exact thing you're telling me now, and she was like telling me the kind of like so I've done this before, like when you tell somebody else like this and how to like resolve bullying. She told me the same thing, and it was actually very helpful. And I think every time I hear that, because she used to tell me like because I had the Zoom with her from on Monday, Tuesday, and Friday, and I would do it with my mom's boyfriend on the other weekdays. So she would every day, every day she's teaching me, she would remind me. So then that actually helped me calm down more because when I'm getting bullied, I get all stressed and I'm like, what if this bully does this and this and this, and then I have to go home and tell my mom this, this, and this. So yeah, it really helps me. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. It's really important to tell your mom or your dad because it's, when you keep it all to yourself, you start thinking about it, you start thinking more about it. It's actually it's a common thing that people do. And yeah, of course.
So one little question. I have an Apple Watch and I have phone over there, over here in the. If you could, Can you please give me your number?
Of course.
So I can contact you at school if I get bullied.
Yeah, 100%. Yes, that's why that's why I'm
here.
here. Yeah, but as I was saying, it's actually a very common thing that therapists do and psychologists is when you talk about something, it alleviates the pain, it alleviates all the overthinking and all the emotions that you're feeling inside, right? If you just imagine, oh,
The little something fell off your.
all right, whatever. But as I was saying, it's imagine you have a fire in a bottle, right? A fire in a glass jar, right? You're inside that glass jar. You're hurting. There's so many emotions going through you. You're burning, right?
Mhm.
The only thing you can do is you have to punch a hole through the glass jar for all those emotions to leave, for the fire to leave. And the only way to feel better is to actually tell someone about it. And when you do, it
Go home, scream in a pill.
I do that too, but I mean it doesn't really help because if you're screaming in a pillow, you're just letting all the anger out of you. You can't if you're talking to somebody, like for example, you said talk to a parent if something's wrong. Don't always be like negative about it and be like, let's say for example, I'm talking to my mom and I'm like, hey mom, everything's horrible. Everything in my life is horrible. I hate my school. I hate my friends. I hate everything. Then it wouldn't act. Then she'll be like, okay, Olivia, you're just being dramatic on now. So what I have to say, I'd be like, hey mom, these kids are bullying me this and this, and I didn't like it. Can you please talk to the principal? So that's how you can put it instead of screaming into it.
well, screaming into a pillow can help sometimes, but really, when you change the way you think about what the bullies are doing to you, it really changes the way you think about it, right? So if you, instead of saying, this girl's ruining my life, she's turning my life to living hell, you can say, this girl is bullying me because something's wrong in her life and I want to help her. And I want to help her in her aspect of life and I want her to stop bullying
Not helping anyone.
Well, really, as I said before, bullying is about what the person's going through, and usually it's something at home, right? So if we can understand what the bullying's going through, we can maybe help them, and they'll stop bullying us.
What did make you to change your mind and to speak to your parents? Because at the beginning you told that you didn't want to speak up to your parents.
Yeah, well, actually, my parents didn't exactly. Well, my parents. Well, I was periodically telling them, well, this girl just told me that, and my parents, I mean, they didn't think much of it at the time. But when my parents actually found out from the mother of the bully when she pinned my mom down and said, like your daughter better not do anything to my daughter. I teach my daughter to bully or be bullied. So that was the time where my mom understood that something's going on.
Oh.
Yeah, and then she came to me and asked me like what's going on, and I explained it to her. So, I really wish I came to my parents, full on sooner, not just by telling them, oh, this girl told me this. And often parents don't take their kids seriously. They just think that they're just, oh, girl took her toy away and then she gave it back 5 minutes later. But it's much more than that. And kids, especially at this age, they even small things can make them feel like something really big happened. And that's what happened to me. Someone just told me that I'm ugly and I thought my entire world was turning around. But, as you get older, you start understanding what the person's going through and that these insults, they're coming from the person's home, not because they hate you.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
What if the bully for the first time, the bully bullies you. Then for the two days pass, again, the bully bullies you. Then 2 days pass, the bully bullies you. Does that mean like bullying?
Yeah, so if something happens once, let's say you're friends, and then, someone just bullies you for one day, just says, oh, like, I don't like your shirt or I don't like your shoes. I mean, it really, bullying is, it's constant. It really, someone trying to take power or, be mean to you. If someone bullies you one time, it may be because that person is having a bad day or is having like a dark time in their lives. But, if someone bullies you once or twice and you know that you're friends with them, it's often that just some person is just going through something in their life. But if someone's constantly bullying you, it's bullying. Yeah?
Yeah. Now can we play the victim?
Yes,
thing
we
game?
can. Okay. I'm gonna let you go first because you're just eager to insult someone. But I mean,
Not to insult, but to be the victim. This time.
Oh, you want to be the victim?
right. Sorry. Okay.
Can you be the victim?
Can I be the victim?
Okay, I'll be the victim.
Okay.